All right, CNT140 bid spec. We're down to one of our last pieces that we need to create. So we're going to take a look at the section on project planning. So I'm going to open the project planning notes here, and what we're going to do is we're going to create a basic project plan of if we were going to install this cable infrastructure in a building, how would we go about doing it? So as I open the notes here, this is kind of a reminder of all the pieces we've done to this point. And some of the last things we did was we added in our closet equipment, did our closet rack drawings. We added in the certification costs, and we added in the backbone links, the fiber links for our site. So what we're going to do now is, now that we're just about done with adding all the equipment, we're going to take a look at, if I were going to install this cable plan in a building, what would I do first, second, and third? So we're going to do a basic project plan. Now, typically a project manager or project planner would be the person that constructs this to share with the customer. And in a large company, there might actually be a dedicated person doing this. And actually for some people, that is an actual career path of doing project management. In a smaller company, this might be just one of the IT teams, somebody that's been there a while, that would say, well, we're going to do this first, second, this third, and so forth. And they would have some knowledge of like, well, it takes about this long to do this, takes about this long to do this. But they still want to have a plan to share with the team and as well as the customer on this is why it's going to take 6 months or 3 months to do this implementation. So we're going to make a basic one, and we're going to do it in the form of what's called a Gantt chart, which is a pretty common way to communicate a timeline of implementing a project. So first thing, we just kind of brainstorm the kinds of things we did this semester to put, if you think about the cable infrastructure we put in our lab room, we would want to brainstorm those things and think about that order of things. That way we can replicate that on kind of a larger scale. So first thing we do is we think of like the major tasks we'd want to do. Things like install the cable trays. Once those are in, then we can pull the horizontal cabling. Once that's in, we can actually put outlet boxes in and terminate the outlets. We could then put a closet equipment in and then terminate that end of the cable run. Put the backbone cabling in, terminate that, and once all the things are terminated, do some testing, troubleshooting, and then maybe even some certifying of our cable run. Those are the kind of things we'd be thinking of in some kind of logical order, and then we're going to put that into a Gantt chart and communicate that to our customer. Luckily, our program Draw.io that we've used previously has a ability to make a Gantt chart in. So here we're going to open up our Google Drive Draw.io, and we're going to use an existing Gantt chart that's there and edit it into what we're thinking for our plan. So I'm going to go to my Google Drive, and I'm going to go to New here. I'm going to go to Draw.io. As you launch this, you might need to do some authenticating, etc., etc. I'm just going to start with a name up here, and I'll put in something simple like 140 bid spec project plan kind of thing. Oh my goodness. There we go. Bid spec project plan. And I'm going to come from I'm going to go to table here, and I'm going to pick the option. It's should be Gantt chart number 2. As I hold my pointer over this one, you should see like Gantt 2 pop up. Let me do that again. There we go, Gantt 2. That's the one we want. There's other ones here that have more features, but this is good enough for what we want to do, and it makes it a little bit easier for us to do. Some of these have too much features, and it's too much to try to edit and change. So we're going to take this one, and we're going to edit this for our customer. What we really want to focus on is the left side over here. So let me zoom into this a little bit. We want to focus on the tasks here, and then we can approximate the time over here. So on the left, we want to start putting in things like we were just brainstorming earlier. And I can literally double click here and just start typing. We want to start with things like install cable support, and that would be the trays and J-hooks kind of thing, trays in hallways, that kind of deal. Once that's in, then we can start doing let's install our closet equipment. Oops, let me do a little undo there. And we'll do install closet equipment. And while that's going on, we can have a team, or shortly after that, install work area equipment. And that would be the outlet boxes and faceplates, or the outlet boxes and raceways in all the classrooms and rooms. And you could say here, outlet boxes, in rooms kind of thing. Outlet boxes in rooms kind of deal. So now if you think about it, you have the cable support in hallways. I can put the closet equipment in. I can put the work area equipment in. Now I can actually install the horizontal cabling. So now that that is pulled and in place, we can have crews of people or one or two of our team go out and start terminating work area outlets. And again, that's all the outlet boxes in the rooms. And either while that's going on or after that's done, we can do the terminate closet end of cabling. And to patch panels and that sort of thing. We can even put in here patch panels and that sort of thing, just to say, well, now we'll do that end of the cable run. Probably after that is pulled, we can do with the install backbone cabling. And then we can do some sort of like terminate backbone cabling. It's really going to be just plug it in. But we want to plug it in and test it and make sure it is functioning. And now, down here, you'll notice we kind of ran out of some lines, so I'm going to highlight these two. Just do a Control-C, Control-V, and we'll slide them right there in the bottom. And now we want to do, I'll let this and go, we want to test and troubleshoot our installed cabling. Test and troubleshoot cabling. So we are going to need to go around with a basic meter and test and troubleshoot. And that might be going on while you've done the second end determinations. And I'm going to do another paste here. And then test, troubleshoot cabling. Test, I should probably put in here test, troubleshoot, and repair cabling. Because not everything's going to be perfect the first time around. There will be connections that aren't that are not working correctly. We'll need to re-terminate or repair. Down here, then we will want to do certify installed cabling. That way, we would have that data for our customer. All right, so there's our major tasks on the left. On the right, we're just going to represent about how long it's going to take. Again, with some experience, somebody doing this in the field, they would have a real good feel for how long these things are going to take, especially with the size of team you have. I'm going to keep this simple, and I'm going to say we're going to do June week 1. We're going to do June week 2, because we're going to pretend to put this in this school in the summer, if you will. June week 3, and we'll say June week 4, and then we'll move into July, if you will, and we'll kind of do the same thing. July week 1, July week 2, and we're just going to get the basic in here. Week 2, July week 3, July week 4 kind of deal. And then we'll do August 1, 2 kind of thing. August week 1, August week 2. By that point, most schools are starting to look at being back in session. So realistically, we'd want to be done by then, but I'll just include these out here as a kind of a runoff area, August week 4. So now that I have that, we're just going to estimate things are going to take like a week or whatever. So installing cable trays, that's going to take a little time. So we might want to literally allocate maybe 2-3 weeks to do that. But it doesn't mean we can't, even if we say 3 weeks here, it doesn't mean we can't have somebody start installing the closet equipment at the same time, especially if we have enough people on our team. And that's what these are here for, to try to show how long something's going to take. And then here, I'll start work area equipment. So maybe we'll get the trays in, and once those are in, we can then start worrying about installing closet equipment and installing work area equipment. But once all of that is in, once the trays are in, we can now pull the horizontal cabling, and we'll give that maybe 2 or 3 weeks there. And then again, once that starts, maybe a week in, we can have somebody start terminating the outlets, and somebody start terminating the closet end of the connection as well, depending on, again, how many people we have. Once that's in, once we have the major pieces installed, we can pull the backbone cabling in here, and that would not take long. That might really only take a day or two in our scenario. So we would terminate that, literally install and terminate that pretty much the same time frame. Then we need the test, troubleshoot, and repair. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight one of these boxes, Control C, Control V. I'm just going to paste it down here. We're going to allocate ourselves a week of time to do testing and troubleshooting, and then we're probably going to do the whole certify. If those runs test out, a whole room test out, we'll certify it. Move the next room, or do all the testing, and then go back and do all the repairing and so forth. And we're hopefully going to be, we can even slide this way too, we're hopefully going to be done in that August time frame then. All right. So this is a way we could communicate how long things are going to take, and estimates. In a large company or large facility, there might actually be dollar numbers tied to each one of these steps. Or you might get partway through a project and no work is going to get done until the second payment is made to, the contractor or something like that. Usually some payment, you pay the contractor up front a little bit of money so they can buy supplies. You get partway through, you pay them a little bit more so they can buy more supplies, that sort of thing. So you might, in a large company, a large plan, you might actually have dollar numbers tied to each of these phases. All right, once we have this in here and, kind of massage this a little bit, but my main focus for you guys is this over here, trying to get some sort of order in here. But once you have that done, we're going to do a file, export as, and we're going to export this as like a JPEG or PDF. When you do an export as a JPEG, it'll download for you, or you can put it right back in your drive. I'll do a download here real quick. Let's go to download. And once that downloads, we'll pull that up in the downloads folder, and you'll see that I actually created a graphic file. This graphic file then can be submitted to D2L. D2L does not understand these draw.io files, but it does understand a JPEG. So once I get it all formatted the way I like, export that so we can submit to the Dropbox here on D2L. So there's your project plan.